Hi everyone. So, is anyone can hear me? Just let me know and see me, and just let me know. All right. Okay, so we are going to start. It's 8 p.m. In France, so 6 GMT. All right. So tonight we are going to speak about meditation related to lucid dream. Well, I tell you right now, I don't have any magical trick to have a lucid dream while you meditate. I'm working on, but so far I did not succeed. But you will see, there is things to do anyway. Okay, so I made 4 parts, and the first part we will talk about meditation. What's meditation, and well, general things about meditation. The second part, we will do a very short exercise, just to let you know what's the real beginning. The third part, we will talk about meditation and lucid dream. So what we can do with meditation related to lucid dream. And the fourth part, we will talk about what I call a perspective about meditation, and especially deep meditation. That's what we can do with that. What could be the future of the mixing of meditation and lucid dream. And at the end of each part, I will ask you if you have any questions. So if you have questions, then just put your question on, and when I finish part 1, I check the question and I will answer. All right. So I'll talk a little bit about my experience of meditation. I started meditation when I was very young, actually. I was a bit crazy at this time, and I went in India, and I spent some time in ashrams and places like this, and I was like a bit of a wild guy in my mind, and so I that's where I started meditation, and I go on with that for a few years. But I think it was too soon. I was too crazy to really get inside meditation. I could meditate well, but it was much too soon. So I'm not sure I would recommend to somebody very young to do meditation. I mean, yeah, well, if you feel it, but it's something that is really demanding of going inside yourself. So I kind of go on with yoga nidra and meditation for years, but very slowly, very just from time to time. But a few years ago, as I went through dramatic events, I decided to go back to meditation and to lucid dreaming. I was already a lucid dreamer, but a very small one. Sometimes I had a lucid dream, and that's on. So I decided to really go in it like crazy, like lucid dreaming every night, and meditation, a lot of meditation, a lot of retreats. Most of the retreats I've done, they are Vipassana retreats, like the one you will find in Europe and all over the world. Those retreats are 10 days retreats, and you meditate 10 hours a day. So it's a great school for beginners, because it's really demanding, really, it's tough, but it's a very good way to see what it is, to really get inside meditation. I did not really follow, and I will come back to that. Did not really follow I would say the right path, because all those very serious meditation, they are coming from lineage, and they want you to do this and that, and they're really precise about what they expect you to do. That's not my kind, especially that I was a lucid dreamer, and I found some sideway, and that's what I'm going to talk. So I'll talk about those lineage, because they are very important. But as a lucid dreamer, I recommend also some sideway. Very interesting sideway, by the way. So what is meditation? Well, meditation is many things, especially today where there is any kind of meditation. In fact, it became really fashionable and something like very new age. But all those many meditation that you see around, they are, I would say, more like relaxation, not really meditation. Real meditation often come from a lineage, like most of the time it come from Buddhism, because Buddha is the one who really make this happen. I mean, there was in India, of course, but Buddha came from India as well. So it's most of the Tibetan meditation, Buddhist meditation, any kind of Buddhism, Zen meditation, and they kind of not the same, but kind of similar. One can bring you to the other. It's they bring you to same kind of experiences if you follow the lineage. Basically, what you have to do when you want to meditate, I would say before you can meditate, and you will spend a lot of time doing this, is to try to get really quiet and rid of your thoughts. That's the big deal with meditation. Meditation is really about quieting the mind. That's very important. And in fact, meditation works like you don't go really inside meditation. You go in a sort of antechamber, and this antechamber is your mind, and your mind is full of shit. I mean, full of thoughts, full of anything coming from senses, from things you hear, you see, anything. And all those things make thoughts all the time. So when you sit, you close your eyes and you try to meditate, what happens is just you go thinking. So the first thing to do if you want to meditate is to quiet the mind. That's the big deal. That's very important. Actually, most of what you will do as a beginner is quieting the mind. It's not really going after this antechamber in some really interesting places. But first, you have to quiet the mind. So that's what is meditation about for many people if they want to go further. That's very important. So what we basically do, we find an object of concentration, because we try to focus our mind on something that really quiet the mind. And this object can be anything, but traditionally what we use is the breath. We concentrate ourselves on the breath, breathing in, breathing out. That's just very simple, but coming out of this, it's so many things can happen. So that's what we do, because and that's what we will do in the exercise I will ask you to do a little bit later. Because when we do that, we can quiet the mind slowly, but surely. If we go on, we will quiet the mind. So that's very important. That's really where meditation should start. And it's also something that will be useful as a lucid dreamer, because when you are able to quiet the mind, you will be able to use it in many situations where, as a lucid dreamer, you will wake up, fall asleep again, and if you have trouble to do that, it's going to be a problem. So you must really quiet the mind. That's very important. Okay, so that's the first things. A funny thing also about meditation. Meditation has been used by Buddha. Buddha was a guy living 2,500 years ago. So, it's a long time. But I mean, this guy, what happened to him? He became a Buddha. And the funny thing is that Buddha means he became awakened, he just awake. Awake from what? From a dream. Because if you are not in a dream, you cannot be awake. So in fact, Buddha become awake from the dream life, the life we live every day. So it's funny because, like we try to become lucid at night. So we try to awake in a dream, but in the daytime, we should think about being awake in this dream life. So the funny thing is we have a tendency to think that we are very conscious, you know, like I am awake. You know, what's the problem? You know, like I'm awake from until I fall asleep, you know, I am awake. But it's not exactly true, in fact. In fact, when you look at well, most of the day we spend in our thoughts. We're always thinking about something, thinking about this, thinking about that, thinking about anything. Those thoughts are very similar to what's happening when you sleep. You are lost in thoughts, and in fact, you are asleep. So in fact, most of the time during the day, you are not really awake. You are sleeping. You are just thinking. You are like dreaming your life most of the time. And the purpose of meditation is to stop the thoughts and try to become lucid when you are in this life, in fact. So there is a funny thing about this is because we can try to become lucid in this life, and we will try to become lucid in our dream. So, you know, it's very, very similar and very interesting to see it this way. But think about this. See how your thoughts are some kind of dream when you are not present. And most of the time, we are not really here. We are not really there. We just lost in thoughts all the time, thinking about this, that, I have this problem of this, oh, they said that at the TV, and blah, 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 blah. No, never ending blah, blah in the mind. That's what happened, actually. Okay. So I would like to, I thought about what can I propose you about meditation? I mean, what meditation to practice? Well, actually, there is one book that I will recommend, which is, for me, I mean, this is my view, huh? Of course, it's very personal, but it's probably the best book I ever seen, ever written about meditation. Because these books will show you all the different level from really from scratch, from the beginner until very high level. And you can just try to go further and further. Of course, if you want to reach some higher level, you probably will have to go in retreats, in places where you can really go deepening your meditation. But it's a really good book. I want to show you the name of this book. Okay, so it's called The Mind Eliminated. Many of you maybe have heard of, I don't know. It's written by someone called John Yates, and eventually I've talked to him. And it's a very, very interesting book. So I mean, if I really recommend you to read this book if you really want to get inside real meditation, I would say. The lineage of this book is he's using many tradition, probably, but he doesn't use the words that you can find in tradition. Like he would rather use very non-religious, non-spiritual terms, more very lay terms, you know. So, but there is lots of things like Buddhism, Tibetans, and things like that in these books. We are going to see together the different stage of meditation at first. So I want to show you something coming from this book. All right, so that's a very famous picture, and this thing you see it in different tradition. They call it the 10th stage of meditation, but sometimes you find it like the 9th stage of mind too. That's what you have to go through if you really want to go in a deeper state of meditation. So you start from scratch and you try to go deeper and deeper and deeper. So I just explain you very quickly what's going on in this picture. Okay, what you see right down, there is a monk. So the monk is the meditator, you know, and you see the monk is chasing the elephant. The elephant represents the mind, you know, so the mind is the elephant. The black color of the elephant represents the 5 hindrances and the 7 problems. Well, let's not be too just go too technical, but in fact, is anything that will go through your mind, So you have to see that the elephant is show your mind when you want to start. It's just all black because your mind is just like going crazy, going everywhere. The monkey represents scattering of intention, and the black color represents subtle and gross distraction. The rabbit represents subtle dullness. The flame represents vigilance and effort. And when effort is no longer required, the flame disappears. You find this picture and everything is explained in the book. Stage one is, in this book at least, stage one is about making up your mind. Like you don't even sit. You just want to make meditation. You just want, and you always saying, oh yeah, maybe I'll do it maybe tomorrow. Oh yeah, I have no time and all that. That's stage one, is make up your mind. Really, it's a very important stage, in fact, because as long as you are not able to sit like everyday sitting, well, you can't really get into meditation. I would say that you have to think about meditation like if you want to have a shower or brush your teeth, you don't question yourself, you don't say, oh yeah, the shower I had yesterday wasn't that good, so I won't have another shower tomorrow. No, someday you might not brush your teeth or not having a shower, but most of the time you don't question it. You just have a shower and you brush your teeth. That's what you should do with meditation. It doesn't matter if you had a good or bad meditation. It doesn't matter what happened. You just sit and meditate. That's what you should do. And that's stage one. You just like try to get closer to this elephant. What we can see is that there is some kind of turns, and it's interesting because there are stages 1 and 2 are very important because they are very basic stages, but in fact, as long as you don't get through this, it's complicated. After that, the stages are shorter. That means that there is much more things to learn. When you reach stage 3, 4, 5, there's lots of things that you can learn. And after, you will reach some higher stages, like around 6, 7, and all that. Well, we will not discuss about this right now. But what you can see is that your mind is getting quieter and quieter, that the monkey become whiter and whiter, and the elephant too. And at the end, the monk has no problem with the elephant. He's just like, everything is okay. There is no more effort. It's just like, this is the highest stage of meditation. And something else I wanted to tell you about this meditation. You have to understand, like meditation works really like a sport. I mean, some people won't agree. They want to make it very spiritual and all that. That's not my kind. I really don't care about spiritual and all those things. I think meditation doesn't need to be spiritual. It will do the same job. But as a sport, if you can say, oh yeah, I've been meditating for 30 years or something. Well, what have you done? Like sometime I was sitting 30 minutes or so and something. This is, like if you say, yeah, I've been riding for 30 years, but everything I've done is just going around the village and put my bike in the garage. You never went in the mountain, you never really ride, in fact. And meditation is the same. If you really want to go deeper into meditation, you must make up your mind and really do it. Like it, you don't need to have it for 20 or 30 years. What's important is in a few years, then you can meditate a lot. Personally, I meditate between 3 and 5 hours a day. So, okay, that's a lot, and it's much more than most of you can afford. But I would say that it's 2-3 hours a day. Well, if you really reach higher stages, it's not that much, really. Okay, so before we go on a little, I just check if you have some question. I never heard about this book. Yeah, well, give it a try, really. I cannot find the book Mind Illuminated. It's the Mind Illuminated. It's, you will find it, you know, just in Amazon or whatever. I mean, it's an easy book to find. The Mind Illuminated. I'll show you again. Illuminated, and you'll write something else, I think. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, well, somebody already put the link. The mind is saying to meditate 2-3 hours a day. No, I don't say that. I mean, okay, let's be clear. If you have 20 minutes, 30 minutes, fine, just do it. But just try to do it every day, you know, because if you are not regular, if you don't do it like on a very everyday basis, it will be useless. So the thing is, if you really get inside it, you will find time to do it, because you will get deeper in it, and it will be demanding, but also you will have, you know, it will give you things. So you probably will go from 20 minutes to 30 minutes to 45 minutes. So what's very important is to make up your mind. Just do it, you know, do it. And if one day you say, I'd like to try like something deeper, go on a retreat. Try to go on a retreat. It will be hard, it will be tough, but that's the best way. Which method do you use from Vipassana, Napana, blah blah? Well, read the book. I mean, it's what well, we are okay. Let's talk a little bit about this, because what's there is, if you follow lineage, there is two legs of meditation. One is samatha, which is concentration, and the other one is vipassana, which is insight. But they are, you know, it's not that simple. Concentration is try to really focus your mind. You get an object like the breath, and you just try to get deeper and deeper and deeper, and you will reach some higher stage of meditation. Vipassana is more like having some insight, you know, like, and there is some traditional insight and all that. But in a way, like in Vipassana, what they do is basically a body scan, which for me is closer to concentration than Vipassana. But they call it Vipassana. Well, no problem. So it doesn't really matter. Everything is quite well explained in the book. I meditate only around 4-5 minutes a day, mostly before my sleep. Yeah, well, it's okay. It's better than nothing. But you know, it's just like it's. Think about the sport. Say, oh yeah, I'd like to. Yeah, seems to be fine to go to climb a mountain in Les Alpes, you know, like the Tour de France, you know. But you know, I just take my bike and I go around the village, like go up and down the road, you know, from the shop to my room, you know, like there's about 500 meters or something. And you think it's enough to climb Les Alpes and like in the Tour de France? No, it's not. Definitely not. So it's, yeah, depend what you want to do. If it's just to have a good night rest, well, maybe sometime 10 minutes, it's good. But if you want to go deeper, then it's not enough, I'm afraid. Can you reach the hypnagogic state through meditation? We will come back to that. We will come back to that. Do you have any suggestion as to how to be very disciplined in sitting for meditation? Read the book. Read the book. We will do the first exercise, like stage 2 exercise, and you will see it's very basic, but it requires discipline. Yeah. Did your lucid dream experience boost when you have started mindfulness practice? How many experience you were able to reach after this? Well, I don't see it this way. Meditation, I mean, yeah, well, I will talk about another kind of meditation at the end of the webinar. But for most of us, meditation is just a tool, and this tool will be useful from different things. But I wouldn't say that because you do meditation you will have more lucid dream. I don't believe. Many people, they do meditation and don't have any lucid dream, so it's not exactly related if you just go for meditation and, oh yeah, I will have some lucid dream. But if you are a lucid dreamer, there is things you can do. That's definitely, I'll come back to that. I'm assuming you are talking about deep breathing meditation or body scan. Deep breathing meditation doesn't mean much because it's still basic breathing, but it's just your state, your state of mind, which is changing. And body scan, yes, I was talking about body scan. Don't understand, he speaks so fast for me. Well, yeah, I'll try to do a webinar in French if I have time, Mesh. No, Delphine, sexy accent. I am not Michael. All right. So, okay, that was just information about meditation, but not just basic information. I recommend to read the book. That's for sure. Now we will try to do a very short exercise. Very, very short. 5 minutes. 5 minutes. No more. 5. So please try to sit as well as you can, and we will try to have a 5-minute exercise. This exercise is what you will find in. Well, I'll make it simple, of course, but it's that what you will find in stage 2 if you read the Mind Illuminated. What are we going to do? It's very simple. We are going to focus on our breath. We will focus on our nostril, just this area, and the air coming in and out. Not the air inside, just the air coming in and out. If you don't really feel it, it doesn't really matter. You will just breathe in and breathe out. You will just listen to your breath. You will not try to, you will try not to, in fact, change your natural breath, because this is not an exercise about the breath. It has to be as natural as possible. You just have to observe your breath. The breath is going in and out. Anytime you have a complete cycle, inhale, exhale, you count 1. Inhale, exhale, you count 2. Then you will go until 8. And when you are at 8, you will go down to 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and up again. That's it. That's all we are going to do. So I repeat, it's quite simple. You breathe in, breathe out, very natural as possible. And when you exhale, that's what I do. When I exhale, I count 1. In, out, 2. You know, very natural. That's all. So what's happening most of the time when we do that, especially if you're a beginner? Okay, you are serious, you say, okay, breathe in, breathe out, 1, 2, 3. But actually, your mind hates this. You know, it's just your mind wants to escape your thoughts. We just say, okay, I don't want to just focus on this nostril. That's terrible. And very quickly, you will see that your mind will just jump, and you will be going inside a thought or another, or you will hear a sound or something, whatever, but you will just be gone. Just like completely forget, oh, where am I? And this can last, like when you are in a retreat, you can find yourself like after 15, 20 minutes, you're completely gone. Oh, where am I? When this happens, we call it the haha moment. It's just like, I'm gone. You don't question yourself. You don't say, oh yeah, I'm gone, blah, blah, blah. No. You come back to the breath. Because what you don't want to do is to put some more thoughts to thoughts. So there is not a question of what's happening and blah, 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 blah. No. You just come back to the breath. You probably forgot the count. You come back to 1. 1, 2, 3. That's what we are going to do. It's very simple, very basic. Okay, so let's start. 5 minutes, only 5 minutes, guys. So you breathe in, you breathe out, 1, and on and on. And you don't try to push your breath. Try to keep it as natural as possible. All right, that's it. No more. So what we have done, I don't know if some of you succeed to keep with the brief for the 5 minutes, like you were able to count up to 8, 8 to 1, up to 8, 8 to 1, and your mind never gone. Did some of you succeed? That felt very relaxing. It's a very basic exercise, but it can be really useful when you are stressed. Really, really useful. It's very simple, but actually there is nothing else to do when you start a meditation. Well, what we call this is gross distraction. Gross distraction are distraction that will just get, that will completely take you out of the meditation. You know, you thinking you're doing meditation, but the thing of counting show you that you're gone. You know, like you cannot count anymore. That because you are going into a thought. And when you just realize that you were gone into a thought, you know, that was a short time. But if you meditate for hours in retreats, you will see that you can be completely gone for a really long period of time. That's really the first step. There is many other steps, a bit more complicated. After we will use body scan and all that, and we'll have those subtle distraction that we will try to have some sort of peripheral awareness and all that. But anytime I start meditation, I do that because as long as I'm not focused enough to follow my breath, there's nothing else to do. I just look at you, what you say. I lost it once. Good. My mind was still wondering. Hopefully I'll get better with time. Yeah, it's normal. Your mind is as a natural way of wandering. That's absolutely normal. So if it takes time, because that was only 5 minutes, but imagine try to do it for half an hour, you will see how your mind, because the longer the period of time, the more easy the mind will just go, and you will be gone, completely gone. And that was, this will start to look like a dream, like you're not lucid anymore. You're like in a dream. You enter a dream. You're not in a lucid dream. You are in a normal dream. um, I was mindfully or doing this exercise, but my body wanted to move a lot. Yeah, well, that happened a lot at the beginning. You know, anything, your mind, your body, when you are not used, they unconsciously they want you to stop. Say, I don't like this. I don't like this, and you have to keep quiet. You have to keep focused because, you know, you are not used, and doing nothing is something quite difficult. How many minutes do you do it for, Fabrice? Well, um, no, I mean it's at the beginning I was doing it much longer, but I would say that now I always do it for a few minutes when I start meditation. When I am a mess, because it happened, you know, I start meditate and I'm a complete mess because I think about this or that. It can take longer, and also I can go in higher stages and boom, come back, just completely gone. So it's not because you can do it that you can get to higher stages, but you can still fall, you know, like you climbing on a ladder, and boom, you just fall from three stage, you know. It happened. So usually I do this really quickly, but sometimes I just fall. It's very well explained in the book. That book is really a step by step, really well made. Okay, so let's go on a little. Now we are going to talk about what can be interesting with meditation and lucid dream. Just look at your commentary. Mm-hmm. observing images and listening techniques. Well, it's the things you have to understand is the more simple, the better, especially for a beginner. Don't make it complicated, and don't use things that will augment the volume of sound. That's why many meditation they say, oh, you have to imagine the mountains and everything is so quiet, or lake and blah blah blah. The problem about those meditation is just like you are just adding thoughts, and thought plus thought plus thought you are not getting rid of. So okay, you are in a nice state, bit of relax and all that, but in fact you are just thinking. That's what you are doing. So that's why a very simple object of meditation like the breath is really, at least for a beginner, the best you can find. And even for very advanced meditator, it's really the best you can find. The breath is what we have. It's the perfect object of meditation, of concentration. Do you count the entire time you meditate, or only at the beginning? Well, when I quite count a lot, but when I reach some higher stages, which I explain later, no, I don't count anymore, because I just can't count anymore. My mind is just gone. So, but in the right way, I'm too focused. But sometimes, yeah, I can feel it's okay, because sometimes I also use body scan and I do think, and sometimes I stop counting and I come back to counting. It depends, really. Okay. So now we are going to talk about meditation related to lucid dream. Okay, so I just assume that you are not very, very advanced meditator. I mean, for those who are, we will talk about really advanced meditation at the end of the webinar. But right now, I will just talk basically what's, even if you have a very basic meditator, that just like you are starting and doing these brief things and all this stuff, what can it be useful? It can be useful because many things you want to do if you want to master lucid dream. Well, I don't mean I'm not talking about dreaming just lucid dream. I'm only talking about what Michael Raduga teach you, like all the direct and indirect method. Means it's wild techniques that you are going to get inside the dream without losing consciousness. So what happened is that you will go through waking up and sleeping time. And on the last webinar, I talked about how micro sleep were very important. But the problem with micro sleep is like, okay, you wake up, but sometimes some people have a tendency to, they get problem to fall asleep again. And to have some very basic techniques like this helps you a lot to just quiet your mind, really quiet your mind. Because if you can't fall asleep, it's because your thoughts are just turning and turning. The more easy you will be with this meditation, very basic techniques, the more easy you will fall asleep. Really, try to do this, counting your breath before you fall asleep, like at nighttime before you go to bed. You will see how easy. My meditation at nighttime is always a mess because I always fall asleep. I meditate like half an hour or sometimes almost an hour, but I'm just boom. I just can't do it. I just fall asleep. So the main tool about meditation is to help you to fall asleep. That's very important. To focus, but also to really get easily inside the sleep. And I've been training to wake up many times after wake back to bed. So what happened when you do wake back to bed? You wake up 3-4 in the morning, you put your alarm clock or whatever time you have done a few dream cycle and sleep cycle, I mean, and then you wake up. You must stay awake for a while. So to my view, the best thing to do is to have a meditation. That's the perfect time. Like you would spend like 20 minutes or 30 minutes in a meditation. If you had at least 3 cycles, like 4.5 hours of sleep, or 4 cycles, which is about 6 hours of sleep, you will be awake. no problem. But the meditation will help you to get quiet. If you just count your breath like this, you will get quiet, and you will stay in that state, really relaxed for maybe 20 minutes, 30 minutes if you can, and then you go back to bed. And it makes a huge difference, because then you are really to go back to bed. And that's a very important step. For that, meditation is a great tool, especially for beginners, because you don't need to be an expert to do that, really. I check if you have any question before I go on with a more advanced technique. Okay. Now we are going about something much, let's say, something that you won't find in a book of meditation. You won't find it in this book. You won't find it in any book of meditation, because there are techniques about hypnagogia. And you have to understand that hypnagogia is a really important lucid dreamer. Hypnagogia, I suppose all of you know, are the images, sounds, beginning of dreams, all those things happening before you fall asleep. And most of the time you just see, poof, and you sleep. The problem is try to train for those hypnagogia. It's just like, it's very difficult because you fall asleep too quickly. In meditation, you can have some hypnagogia. Traditional meditation, they don't talk about this, because I have to talk a little bit about traditional meditation. In traditional meditation, most of the time they come from Buddhism. They call about what is the hindrances. Hindrances are hindrances. That's things that prevent you to get inside meditation. And they say there is 5 kinds of hindrances. The first one, they call it sensual desire. Well, everything you want, like I want. The second is ill will. Well, anything you don't want, anything I don't want, and your mind just go, I don't want. Of course, you have to be very quiet with this. So you have to overcome all those things. But the third one is called sloth and torpor, which is also called dullness and drowsiness. And it's true. This is a problem, actually. If you want to have a good meditation, then if you start falling asleep, which happens very often, then you cannot have a good meditation, obviously. So if you do a meditation and your head is really falling, like you're really falling asleep, it's not good. But if you do a meditation and you're perfectly clear, your head is not falling, but your mind is getting quiet, a little bit like when you start to sleep. What happens is, like, when you meditate, you reach a liminal state. This liminal state, it's really, in a way, on the verge of sleeping. And at this point, your mind is getting quieter. Just like you can really feel like there is less thoughts in the mind. Most of the time they go around, but they are like, not so loud. It's okay. What happened then? This is when hypnagogia can come. And most of the time, people don't notice it. They meditator. They just start to, maybe they might see a face or something's happening. And what they think is that, I'm falling asleep. And they just try to focus more, not to, get those hypnagogia, because they don't really know what it is. But you, as a lucid dreamer, this is what you need. You need to really get those hypnagogia. But what's important when those hypnagogia come, it's very important to keep focus on the breath, because you are really on the verge, really like this, of sleeping. So you're okay, but you mustn't you mustn't feel like you're falling asleep. You must feel like, I'm okay. I concentrate on the breath, and I start to see, there is a face. I can hear a sound. I see a landscape, and those things coming. And you try to focus on the same time, because you must remain very alert. So it's very paradoxal. You you will stay on this liminal state, very alert. And in the same way, you will let your mind go on with the brief and see those images, sounds, things happening in your mind. And that's how you will train for hypnagogia. It's a very important point. If you go to higher stages of meditation, I will talk to it later, what happens is that you will reach some states where you cannot fall asleep anymore. You are in a very altered state of consciousness, but you're in a very different state. And then you can remain there on the verge of sleeping, without sleeping, and watching those images. It's just amazing. That's how you train, really. This is not something you can find in books because, as I said, Buddhism and all the traditional meditation, they say that when you start to fall asleep, that's bad. And they're right. But they forget that just before you start falling asleep, there is the hypnagogia coming. But they just, like we say, I don't know the English expression, we say that you throw the baby with the water around, you just throw, there is a baby, and you just throw it. But as a lucid dreamer, you must not do that, I show you another book that maybe some of you might be interested of. Okay, this is probably the only book, very serious book, very tough one. It's been written by a doctor about hypnagogia. It's kind of tough reading, but there is a very, very interesting part about meditation and hypnagogia, and he explained how all meditators, when we put them some EEG on their head and all that, the waves that everything coming from their mind, it's very similar with the hypnagogic state they have from people who are about to fall asleep. It's kind of similar. So it's not it's really what's happening in meditation. We are in a liminal state. We don't want to fall asleep, but we can remain on this liminal state and use those hypnagogia. Another thing I discovered when I was in a retreat, first retreat I've done, first long retreat, Vipassana, 10 days I've done. I was, when you meditate long period of time, like in Vipassana, we meditate 10 hours a day. So imagine just like, your body, just like every day, your body, you feel pain everywhere. You have to deal with pain. Your body is in pain, my mind is just, But I was seeing those hypnagogia. I said, wow, that's fun because I can have some hypnagogia, and that's really interesting. At one point, I made a very strange, very funny and strange experience that completely blew up my mind. It was just crazy. So what happened is that I was watching hypnagogia, and I was feeling pain in my body, like, because I have also a bad complexion, so that's not the best for meditator. And also, your elbow, most of the time you can feel them. So I was feeling this pain in my body and looking at hypnagogia in my mind. And at one point, I don't know why, it was like, it reminded me of a bird. I see this hypnagogia going right through my mind, right through my mind. And I just thought, take it. So I focus on the hypnagogia and put it inside the pain. I don't know why I've done that. Really, I don't. But I just make a relation between the hypnagogia, and I remember it was a leg. It was a pain in one leg. And what happened? Immediately, the pain in my leg disappeared completely. It was gone. And in fact, I realized instantly that the power of hypnagogia, which is the power of sleeping, the narcotic effect went inside my leg, but not inside my mind. So I realized that it was possible to use hypnagogia to make your body asleep. And when I realized that, my Vipassana completely changed, because in a very short time, I call it chasing the hypnagogia. I start to chase the hypnagogia and to try to make relation from this hypnagogia and focus on hypnagogia, focus on the part of my body, and poof, I couldn't feel the part of my body anymore. And very quickly, all my body was just like, wow, gone. I was absolutely fantastic. So this is what I discovered. You can really play with hypnagogia, and you can, when you meditate for a long period of time, you can use hypnagogia to make your body asleep, but not your mind. It will take time, and you probably will need a retreat to do that. But if one day you do a retreat and you meditate for a long period of time, that's really a very useful tool, because when your body is start to be asleep, you get very quicker in deep meditation, really. So that's something I discover, and I really recommend if you can go to a retreat to use it. Okay, I will see your question now. Yeah, some people say internet is not really good. Well, I'm sorry, guys. There's nothing I can do. Fabrice, at night after awaken, you do recommend to practice sitting meditation and to meditate lying in your bed? No, never lying in your bed. Always sitting. Well, if you have trouble to sit, try to find a nice chair where you can be a little bit relaxed, but don't stay in your bed. You have to be as formal meditation as you can, really sitting. I sit in a very formal way, you know, like traditional meditation. But that's very important, because you must cultivate some alertness in your body, really. Anything which you will just put you like, I'm so well, will help you to only fall asleep too quickly. So that's, I will not recommend it. Sometimes I do it because I'm too tired, but definitely if you can, it's sitting meditation. When you want to do, Malvina, you can stay more focused. You are more aware of the things you do. For example, when you wanted to do next, what you wanted to do next, or where you left some objects. I don't really understand. Anyway. When meditating and I notice a sign of hypnagogia, I notice my head often get heavier, or that it starts to lower while my neck can't support it. Is this something I should let happen too? Well, it's what I said. That's the difficult point about working on hypnagogia when you meditate, is that you must be alert. It's very paradoxal, because you let your mind slowly be alert, but the thoughts are getting quieter and quieter, because as long as there is thought, there is no hypnagogia. So the thoughts are getting quieter. They are a little bit in the background. And then the hypnagogia comes, but you mustn't fall. If your head start to really like fall ahead, that's mean it's not good. So what I recommend really is to avoid meditation after eating. Like if you meditate at 2 p.m., that's bad. The best meditation I do is always in the morning after sleeping. That's the one at 3-4 in the morning, but the best one for me is always when I wake up. If you can, maybe you cannot, but if you can, I will say the morning time. If you can have a time for meditate, that's probably the best one, because in the morning we don't fall asleep like that. You know, we've been sleeping, and if you have a good night rest, we won't fall asleep. So that will be the best time. Throughout the baby with the bath water. Yeah, exactly. That's I mean, that's what they do in traditional meditation. But I've talked to some people really inside it, and I said what I was doing with hypnagogia. And they say, oh, hypnagogia, this is not good because this is falling asleep. Actually, I talked to John Yatt, who write The Mind Illuminated, and explaining what I was doing. He couldn't understand in the first place. So I was very surprised. I said, I mean, he doesn't know. No, he didn't, because he's not a lucid dreamer. And when he was feeling this kind of vision, they call it and all that, they know that they are not good, because this is not serious meditation. Serious meditation is to become a Buddha. And if you don't become a Buddha, that's not serious meditation. So I explained him, like there is a middle way. And then he said, oh, yeah, that's very interesting. Well, especially when I explained him that I could use hypnagogia to make my body asleep and not my mind. You open eyes like, what is he talking about? And this guy has a lot of experience. So that's the difference when you are. You can be a very high meditator, but you don't know much about lucid dream. But if you can go in a higher level of meditation and you're really inside lucid dream, then there is some crossroad very, very interesting that I hardly found on internet, unfortunately. Hi, Fabrice, I see green blob and swirling image behind my closed eye. Is that the start of hypnagogia? Well, no. I mean, many times we see things behind. That's funny. That's interesting because we close eyes and we see things. But this is not hypnagogia. Hypnagogia are really construct from your mind, and they're happening when actually I've been really working on this for many times, and what I can tell you is that when your thoughts are getting quieter and quieter and quieter, there is a tendency of having those impersonal thoughts. In fact, we can't really stop thinking. And what's happening most of the time is just like when the thoughts are getting quieter and vanished, then naturally sleeping state happening, and it's manifest by hypnagogia. That's what's happening, but it's really mind construct. So in books like Discourse of the Buddha and all that, and all those lineage, they call it vision. They say, oh, you will have vision, you will see things and all that, crazy things. Don't get lost in it because it's just bad. So the monk before, they would say lots of things. Oh, I see things, and Buddha say, come on, and just get rid of it. It's useless. Well, you will see that the Buddha was doing crazy things too. I will talk about it later. Joe, Fabrice, how long does it take you to reach the liminal state via meditation if you're not doing wake back to bed? Are you able to do it in the middle of the day? Yeah, sure, definitely. I can do it anytime. But there is time which I'm not good at all. Like if I've been hitting, like midday, and I start meditation at 2 p.m., oh, that's really bad. That was really a challenge when I was in a retreat, because we have to meditate anytime. And the challenge was to be able to have a good meditation like at 2 p.m. And it was really something hard to do because most of the time you just go like this, you just don't stop doing just like falling asleep all the time. So you can reach the liminal state anytime if you are a good meditator, but there is time where your energy is not good. And that's a very important point, energy. I realize now that I can go in deep meditation in a way whenever I want, but it's not exactly true. I can do it if my energy is good enough. And there is time of the day where my energy is good enough, and there is time of the day where my energy is not good enough. Because my body is working, like when you've been eating, then your belly is working and all that. And that's, like that's where you have a nap. So, you fall asleep. That's why when you try to work on hypnagogia before going to sleep at night, it's not the right time, because what happens, your head will fall. You will be too tired and your body just want to sleep. And most of the time you fall asleep. So in a way, you have to find a time where you are very awake, very awake. So morning time, to my view, is the best time. How is Corona quarantine in France? Irrelevant. When you reach hypnagogia while meditating, do you continue to focus on breath or let your mind go free? Yeah, it's interesting question. Both, actually. when hypnagogia comes, it is always the power of hypnagogia is always to just like hypnagogia comes. When you focus on an hypnagogia, in a way you fall asleep. But because of your very good level of concentration, focusing on the breath, then you very quickly come back. It might be a fraction of a second or 1 or 2 seconds, but there is a very short time, a lap of time where you fall asleep. And that's why I discovered these things. You know, I was using this power, this narcotic power of the hypnagogia to just like making a swift between the hypnagogia in my mind to in my body. Well, it's not really in my body, it's still in my mind, but actually I was probably cutting the circuit between the pain related to my mind because of the hypnagogia. So you in a way you stop focusing on the breath because the hypnagogia makes you feel like ooh, a little bit dizzy, a little bit like drunk, something. But you have to come back very quickly on the breath because hypnagogia will just like put you in a dreaming state or very, very drowsiness state, and that's not good. Is paying attention to hypnagogia something Vipassana retreat would want you to not do because it's a distraction from the path? Just curious. I know we are not learning traditional meditation. Yeah, we are not learning traditional meditation at all. No, they don't want you to do that. Don't go to see the teacher and say, oh, I discovered something. It's amazing. It's crazy. I play with hypnagogia. Whoa. He will show you the door. No. They don't want you to do that. They want you to do exactly what they say. Obviously. Actually, I'm suffering from spinal cord degeneration, which occurred suddenly and left me paralyzed neck down in an hour. I'm bedridden since last 8 years now, and I want to walk again like before. Can you help me with it? Well, no. But, of course, I cannot help you. But if you can sit in a very, very comfortable position, like, you know, very nice position, try to do this kind of meditation using hypnagogia and try to get your pain. I suppose you get pain in your body. Just try to get rid of the pain of your body. That could be a good training. Yeah, definitely. When you are in deep meditation and you see hypnagogia, is it very vivid like in a dream? Yeah, sometimes. I mean, I will talk about deeper meditation just after that. But yeah, in deeper meditation, it's amazing. It's really like small dreams. Actually, very short, but it's as in a dream, and I am almost lucid. Like just like wow, you know, I just watching. It's just like being on a huge screen, like a cinema, you know, and it's really amazing. Yeah, it's kind of very similar to a dream. And fall asleep. I don't fully understand. Fall asleep again. Mesh, you have to speak English, not French. Okay. Can you enter a lucid dream when you reach hypnagogia through meditation during the day? Does there need to be darkness? Thanks. Not yet. Not yet. But that's what I'm working on, and I will explain just later why. But that's really, you know, that's the graal, I would say. But not yet. But I do funny things. I'll explain. Okay. Do you think that hypnagogia meditation in the morning would help you get lucid dream during the night? No. I mean, this is a training for hypnagogia, and as a training, it just helps to train some kind of muscle that you will recognize hypnagogia if you do the direct technique or indirect technique or whatever. You will recognize the hypnagogia. You will develop the muscle of hypnagogia, which doesn't mean anything, of course, but it's just an image. So you have to train. You have to say it like, you know, like imagine you're, I don't know, you know, swimmer. You're a swimmer. You know, swimmer, what they do, they swim. You know, like very good swimmer, and you can see them sometimes like really good swimmer on the side of the swimming pool, and they use something to, you know, make the muscle of their arm. That's what you do. You know, that's training for muscles. You know, and after that, when you will go through hypnagogic state, you will be better to recognize them. You know, you will be less tricky. You know, you will have developed a tendency of being awake longer. That's what will happen. Can you teach me French? Any technique on how to enter a deeper state of meditation to realize hypnagogia? I'm about to talk about it. Okay, guys. So just try to do it, even if you are a beginner. Just try to quieten your mind, But it will take time. You cannot expect it like if you know you're doing a 15-minute meditation or so. It will take a little bit of time. It's a little bit demanding, but in a way you can also do it when you before going to sleep, because hypnagogia can come quicker. You will fall asleep, but it's a good start. Try to do it. And for the more advanced one, for the one who really want to go in a retreat, do what I said. You know, try to reach the hypnagogic point, the liminal point, the liminal state, and try to make a focus between the hypnagogia and part of your body which are painful. And there will be some part of your body which are painful, I'm sure. And you will see, it will just like, wow, it will just like go. It will be a fantastic experience. Okay, so now I'm talking about the last part. Yeah, well, this part is higher state of meditation. What is it? Well, at the beginning, I've been talking about meditation. What we do to meditate. It's like an empty chamber. We try to clean our mind. We try to reach a point to enter another chamber, a deeper chamber of meditation. And as a concentration techniques, that's what we really want to do. If we want to use hypnagogia and all that, we are using concentration techniques. There is altered state of consciousness we call jhanas in in all the lineage. I mean, especially in the Buddhism. The Buddha talks a lot about jhana. All these discourses. You know, the Buddha is a guy who's been awakened. He was around 36, 37, I don't remember. I mean, a little bit less than 40. And he's been living until 80 years old. And he's been talking a lot. He was a big talker. So there is lots of discourses of the Buddha, any kind of discourses. And he talks a lot about the jhanas. You know, that's obviously what he really used to get inside deep meditation. What are those jhanas? Jhanas are state of consciousness very different than normal state of consciousness. And you can get into those states when your mind is really focused. If it's not focused enough, you won't get inside. And this is not something that you can do because you meditate sometime, half an hour there or there. No, you have to go through retreats. And sometimes, most of the time, I would say more than one. Well, I don't have any shortcut. I work on it because, you know, I realize that the things they talk in lineage always related to this kind of things like hindrances, or very traditional things. If you get rid of those things, then you can realize that there is shortcuts, but there are not that shortcuts. You know, I know a way to get deeper inside those very deep meditation state, but you still have to meditate a lot. Okay, now I would like to read you something that this is a discourse of the Buddha, and this one is called it's in the Digha Nikaya. It's called the Samanyaphala Sutta, the fruit of the contemplation life. The Buddha gave this discourse when he was visiting probably local kings. There was lots of kings asking him at this time. And one of those kings asked him, what's the advantage of being that contemplative, you know? And the Buddha explained him what's the advantage. And you just say, okay, you can do that, you can do that. And in that discourse, he talked about the jhanas. He said, okay, you can do that, you can do that. There's many paragraphs. And he started to talk about jhanas. And there is 8 jhanas, but there is mainly 4 jhanas. 4 and 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, 6, 7, 8. But the main one are the 4th jhana, we say. And he talked about the 4 jhana. And when he finished talking about the 4 jhana, then he started talking about really strange things. I discovered that like years ago or so. I was just hallucinating. So he talked about something called the mind-made body. And what the Buddha say is a mind-made body. Funny. He said, with his mind thus concentrated, he's talking about someone who was having a contemplative life and who was going through the jhanas. With his mind thus concentrated, it directs and inclines it to creating a mind-made body. From this body, he creates another body endowed with form, made of the mind, complete in all its parts, not inferior in its faculty. And then he described many similes about what he's talking about. A mind-made body, similar to a normal body and all its faculty. Does this not remind you a dream body? And when you wake up in your room, you're doing an indirect technique and you just stand up beside. I mean, that's perfect definition for a dream body, a mind-made body. But what he said, just in the next paragraph, is even better. He called it the supranormal powers. And he said, with his mind thus concentrated, because all those discourses always repeat at the beginning, the same blah, blah, blah. He directs and inclines it to the mode of supranormal powers. And now he's talking about many supranormal powers. He appears, he vanishes, he goes unimpeded through walls, ramparts, and mountains as if through space. He dives in and out of the earth as if it were water. He walks on water without sinking as if it were dry land. Sitting cross-legged, he flies through the air like a winged bird. And on and on and on. My God, what is he doing? He's going through walls. He's flying with cross-legged. I mean, he's in a lucid dream, obviously. You know, there is lots of talking with the Buddhism about what he's talking about. But for any lucid dreamer, that's obvious. He's in a lucid dream. He creates a mind-made body, perfect definition for a dream body, and he's going through walls and all that, you know, and on and on and on. It's amazing. So the Buddha was having lucid dreams. It's official. But the interesting thing is that he's not having, it doesn't seem, no, he's not having a lucid dream when he's asleep. He's having a lucid dream with his mind thus concentrating in a jhana state. So in a very altered state of consciousness while he's meditating, he's going in an OBE, lucid dream, whatever. But that's what he does. So, and that's what I try to do. This is my training, actually, my everyday training, but it's quite hard. So I will talk. I would like to, you know, to give you a description of jhanas, how I feel it. This is really difficult because it's something, if you don't experience it, it's kind of really hard to describe. But you know, 2 days ago, I thought about something, and it will remind me that it could be a good simile. So I thought about a rocket that's going to leave the Earth. It's on the, you know, on the ground. You know when you see those images on on the television, this big rocket going into the moon or into the international space aircraft and all that, in the outer space. There is this big engine, these big things, and it's ready, but it's not ignited yet. So it's not ready yet. And you can see those big engine ready. What you do when you reach jhana is quite similar to that. You quiet your mind a lot because you focus on the breath and you go on and on and on, and you also can use body scan and all that, and you start being very easy in your body, so you go on, the mind, the breath, your body, everything, sensations start to be really more relaxed when you reach stage, which is about stage 6, 6, 7, yeah, we're 6 in the book I show you. And at this point, what happened is that you might feel in your body some kind of bliss, some kind of really nice sensation, really nice. Most of the time, it can be felt at the around the ends. Like you don't feel your hand anymore. It's just like you feel like sensation in some part of your body. You just like, well, that's time to be good. At this point, what you want to do to get into jhana is to focus on the bliss, on this absolute joy that you're feeling, and you have to make a really good feedback loop. Like the more you think about it's nice, the more it get nicer, and you really have to load these things as much as you can. And if you load it enough, it's exactly like if the rocket was just starting, like the engine, they start to burn, and the rocket is start to lift from the ground. But it's not a really pleasant moment because, like everything is shaking in your rocket, you go, and it has to be strong. So you keep going, and it won't last that much. But the more power you put on it, the better. So you kind of checking by bliss, and most of the time what I feel is going right through my spine, at the back, and I just go on like this, and after it's like if the rocket was going like 1 kilometer, 2 kilometer, and then vibration are less, and I start to really relax in that joy. There's no more this feeling of and then you enter the second jhana. And in this jhana, wow, it start to be really good. I love this jhana because the state of mind you are in this one is a really nice feeling of joy. You feel joy all over your body. It's really pleasant. And you just have to go on with this joy. Just let it come, let it go everywhere. And your mind gets more unificated, like thoughts are less and less present, and you are really focused on this joy. And the rocket go on. And then you will see on the television that the two big boosters just go poof out, because now the rocket is almost out of the atmosphere, so it doesn't need those big things. It's okay. And then that's when you enter the third jhana. What happens is this joy is getting quieter and quieter, and you are in a state of like really quiet and really nice, really tranquil. And then your body, you don't feel your body anymore. I mean, it's just like it's you feel more like an energy field. You don't feel nerves, sinew and all that. You feel more like energy going all over your body. It's just like so pleasant, and you can play with this energy from head to feet to head. That's what you do in the third jhana. I mean, that's what I do. And then the rocket go on. There's nothing you have to do now, no effort. You just go on like this. And at one point, you will feel that you reach the outer space and is weightlessness. And then you just float. You are out of the atmosphere. And then that is when you enter the fourth jhana. How do you feel it in your body? Well, it's really like this. I'm just like, my mind is absolutely quiet, and my body, I cannot play with the energy anymore because I just like pulsing energy from all over. I don't really feel my body anymore. It's just more like a mass of energy. This feeling, I know I am in the fourth jhana because it's really there. There is not really any more joy or not joy. It's just there, you're really there. and that's the very, I mean, it's an altered state of mind, really. It's you are not at all in the same feeling than when you are out of the jhana. You are so focused. It's really it's very difficult to explain, but it's a little bit like in outer space. You are weightlessness, absolutely. So at this point, like there is no more, like if I had some pain in my body and things a little bit in the background of my head, it's gone. Everything is gone. I don't feel my body anymore. If maybe I start the meditation, I was really have some back pain and all that, it's just gone. I don't feel anything anymore. It's kind of magic. And in the fourth jhana, what happened is that this state is really full of energy. It's really very energized state, I feel. And then if I just like look inside my mind, it's very easy to see Hypnagogia. If I don't, it's very easy not to see them, you know, and I can eventually go on to 5, 6, 7, 8 jhana. I won't talk about those jhana because they are more like mystical experience. They're a bit different. But if I want to play with Hypnagogia, that's the point where I do it. And the good thing is that in that very energized state of mind, I can't fall asleep. So I can really watch Hypnagogia, and they don't make me fall asleep because this state cannot fall asleep. So that's a perfect state, and that's what I do when I really play with Hypnagogia. So I know to reach this kind of state is hard. It's really demanding. It will ask you retreats, and you know there are higher state of meditation, of concentration. But for a lucid dreamer, well, even for a meditator, but for a lucid dreamer, that's something really. I cannot get inside a lucid dream, but what I can see is that at this point, my hypnagogia are really quite long. They are really kind of beginning of dreams. I really can watch landscape coming all over my mind, pictures, hear sounds and all that. You know, it's like cinemascope, you know, like, wow. You know? And another thing I do to use that state, I try to, you know, go back to bed in that state. That means that when I am in that state of mind, I just leave my meditation, keep focus on my breath, and go back to bed. And very quickly in the bed, even if it has lowered my state of mind, it comes back. And what happened is that I fall asleep because I can't fall asleep, but I easily go through micro sleep. And when I wake up in a micro sleep, I'm still in that state. And then there is a funny thing because I don't need any direct or indirect technique anymore. What happened in that state of mind is that I can just like get up from the bed, like indirect technique, but I don't need to do it just when I wake up, or I don't need to work on hypnagogia or whatever, because this state of mind is French and it works. It just works. I cannot do it too often because it's quite difficult to reach that state at 3, 4 in the morning because sometimes I don't have enough energy and all that. But when I can do it, I can very easily have a lucid dream, very easily. This is what I call a deeper meditation. Okay, that's the best I can do to explain you what jhana are. Let me see if you have some question. Claudia, I don't really understand your question. You know, I felt a lot of energy in my root chakra. I don't know, really. I mean, you know, experiences we have in altered state of consciousness, they can be very different from one person to another. What I know is that anything I told you about jhanas, that's the way I feel them. But there is a, there, you know, there is a way of feeling them that quite similar from one people to another, but everybody will feel a little bit different anyway. But it will be close enough. And also, maybe there is some really high meditator here. I don't know. I'm talking about easy jhanas, because there is another level of jhanas which are called luminous jhana, and the one are kind of difficult. You probably need to spend months in a monastery to really master those jhanas. I wasn't talking about those luminous jhanas. Bob, do you create the dream body prior to going on the hypnagogia after getting into it? Well, I don't create any dream body when I'm in hypnagogia. I am just in my normal body, you know, because I'm not in a dream. How does one convert hypnagogia into lucid dream? Well, I've talked about this in the last webinar. I talk a lot about how to use hypnagogia to get lucid. Okay, guys. So if you don't have any more questions, then I don't have much to say. I wish I would give you some more tricks to become lucid and all that, but that was more about meditation. And maybe I'll come back in a few months or a few years, I don't know, and I will tell you if I succeed to become lucid while meditating, but not yet. Any more questions? There are many meditation retreats. As you mentioned, meditation is fashionable. Could you recommend a retreat? Well, yeah. As a beginner, let me be clear. If you're a beginner and you really want to learn meditation, really want to give it a try, a good try, then you should try the retreat that are all over the world, which are called the Vipassana in the Goenka centers. They are all the same wherever you go. They are about 10 days, they last 10 days, and you will meditate about 10 hours a day. It's really demanding, but that's really the way to learn meditation. For a beginner, that's perfect. And then you can use those things I said about hypnagogia, and that will be very useful. Don't talk to them about it, but you can do it while you meditate. If you are, let's say, I would say more advanced, but if the problem with those centers is that they have a tendency to keep you in a very always the same things. You know, they are very round in their way of teaching. You know, it's already the same things, So maybe you will do 3, 4, 5 retreats in those centers. That would be perfect. But after that, you will have to do something else because I'm not sure it's or learn other things. And even if you do it over there, don't say that either, of course. Ajahn Sao teaching reminiscence, blah, blah. I don't know about this guy. Use of meditation to help you for lucid dream, or it came after? Together, actually. Well, no, I meditate first, and I wasn't thinking about meditation when I was young, but that's something else. Okay, guys, so that will be it for tonight. So see you soon. Just one thing. For one of you who really want to learn about jhanas, well, that's really higher and deeper meditation. But anyway, there is really one book that I would recommend. Okay, so of course, what's inside this book is for higher meditator. You really are. If you read that the mind illuminated, then you have to reach at least stage 6 and to be at ease in stage 6 to practice this, because otherwise you will just like playing with things that it won't work. It will be a waste of time. But anyway, I mean, there is one book today which is really much better than the other and talks really not in a spiritual way, but more in a very practical way about jhanas. Is this book definitely probably the only book who talks to it about it so directly, really. So that's the one I recommend you. Okay, guys. So see you some days and have good lucid dreams. Bye.